For the record, my name is Colin Gillin. I'm the state wildlife veterinarian. I work for the Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife. Just for the record, the department is neutral on this bill. I'm just going to give you a quick overview, very quick, on chronic wasting disease, also known as CWD. It's a disease of deer and elk, North American species primarily. It also affects moose. It is a disease known as a transmissible spongiform encephalopathy. Other diseases you may have heard that is similar to this is mad cow disease, the bovine spongiform encephalopathy. Scrapie in sheep is another common disease, very similar. A lot of the same processes genetically and molecularly. And then there's a human form of this called CJD, which is Creutzfeldt-Jakob's disease. There's no case of CWD being passed or transmitted from deer elk to humans yet. So that's good. That's the good news. The rest of this is not really great. So the prion disease is not a bacteria, it's not a virus, it's not a fungal element. It's an abnormal protein that actually it's infectious. It can be picked up by the host. It mimics the host proteins, and it can be absorbed, and it'll pass through the system to, in this case, to the neural system and up through the brain, and then it causes the host proteins to also fold abnormally and ultimately kills the cells. And so it ends up causing progressive weight loss and death. What I will say, take home from this slide, is that it is 100% fatal. There's no cure, there's no treatment, and there's no vaccine for this. So it is a really bad disease, and every deer and elk that comes in contact with it will ultimately die. Next slide. Oh, thank you. Since the 1960s, this disease was identified in Colorado and Wyoming. It's now spread to 30 states, 4 provinces. The closest it is to Oregon is closer than we'd like. It was found in Idaho last year, within 25 miles of our border, and it very well may be in Oregon now. Next slide, please. We've been doing quite a bit of surveillance. We've been doing lots of testing since 1996. We have tested usually 1,000 samples a year to 2,000 at a high. This year we have sampled over 2,600, and we'll probably go over 3,000 by the end of the sampling season. Since 1996, we have tested over 27,000 Oregon deer and elk. Vice Chair Hart.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for this. I'm learning things every single day. So I'm just very curious. There are clear clusters of these on the map that you shared. Have there been any speculations about connection of anything that could have caused this? Whether it's coal mining or metallic mining or any of those things, because their clusters are very clear.
Chair Helm, Vice Chair Hartman, there's scientific theories based on a lot of things that make sense. The leading thought of where this came from is that it likely came from sheep scraping, and the initial and whether that occurred on the range prior to 1960, which it very well could have been in the 40s and 50s. We had a lot of sheep on the western ranges, or it started in a research lab, which is also a possibility in Colorado. It was a sheep scrapie research lab, and then it was given to the Colorado Department of Wildlife, and they were doing a variety of other studies on deer and elk, and it potentially evolved at that point and evolved into this chronic wasting disease of deer and elk. It doesn't go back into sheep. That's the crazy thing. It's also thought that sheep scrapie is the initiator of the bovine spongiform encephalopathy. And again, that doesn't go back into sheep. But it's very smart people that look at this from a molecular basis are able to tell that if we were guessing and we needed to guess something, that is probably as good a guess as any.